In this part of the video, I'm going to explain one of the most important things of the Gleason's map, especially for those who have a Gleason's map. And for my favorite fans, the globe or the flat earth deniers or globe believers, this is clearly a flat earth map. And as you can see, back in those days, I'm talking about 1892, so beginning of the 19th century, it was well known to be a flat earth map, and it was the new standard map of the world, so they knew about this. At the end of this video, you will also understand where they came with the number 23.4 degrees for the tilt of the earth, your spinning globe, if you believe in the spinning globe. It has everything to do with this. So it's going to be a little boring, but it's very interesting, especially for those who have the map.
Long time ago, they realized the sun moves to the north during the summer season and it moves back to the south during the winter season. So they pinpoint the exact location to the north, same as the south, and the center. The center is exactly 90 degrees and they call it the equator, and the other two locations are 45 degrees to the sun when the sun is at the center of the two locations. The 45 degrees is very important because it is the angle to the sun and it is the same as the latitude. So the 45 degrees is the latitude and it is the real angle to the sun. The rest are divided into equal sizes or degrees. Only the 45 degrees and the 90 degrees, that's when you're at the equator, are the real angles to the sun. The rest are just divided between the 45 degrees and the equator, or the 45 degrees and the vertical or the y-axis. Let's go back to the Gleason's map and have a look at this.
The Gleason's map is showing us when the sun is at the equator and you're looking straight at the sun, the angle is 0 degrees, or the angle between the sun and the latitudes or the base, this angle is exactly 90 degrees. 90 degrees, this angle. And when the sun moves to the north or when it moves to the south, it reaches the 45 degrees latitude lines. This is the 45 degrees latitude line. That's the one. Let me zoom in so you can have a better look. See the 45 degrees. This is the 45. So the sun reaches the 45 degrees latitude line. But when the sun is at the equator and you are on the 45 degrees, the angle is 45 degrees. The angle you're looking at the sun is 45 degrees. The angle between the sun and the base is 45 degrees. Let me illustrate this a different way. Follow me. When you are at the equator and the sun is at the equator, it is 90 degrees. You're looking 90 degrees at the sun. The angle to the sun is 90 degrees. When the sun is at the equator and you are at the latitude 45 degrees or 45 degrees south, you're looking at an angle of 45 degrees at the sun. And when you are at the 45 degrees north, you also look at the angle of 45 degrees at the sun. This is the same illustration as a drawing. At the equator, you're looking straight at the sun. The Gleason's map is very accurate, and I've noticed something very interesting. This one. Let me zoom in. That's the spot. So I decided to check how many degrees it is and to figure out what it means. This is 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 35, 36, 37 and a half degrees. And I ask myself, is it the 37 and a half, the degrees the sun moves, or is it the angle to the sun when I'm at the equator? I'm looking straight at the sun from the equator. So let's go back to the drawing board and have a look at it. The question is, the 37 and a half degrees, is it a number on the y-axis or is it the real angle to the sun? I draw both of them for you. The first one, the yellow line, is just a number on the y-axis. It's 37 and a half degrees. It crosses this line and you can project it at 24 and a half degrees on the latitude line. The second one is the green one. The green one is the actual angle to the sun. So the sun should be on this one or on the other one, on this one. This is 37 and a half degrees. The green line is the actual 37 and a half degrees if you're at the equator looking at the sun. You can project it on the latitude at 25 and a half degrees. This is the Tropic of Capricorn or the Tropic of Cancer. If the sun moves to the north, it's called the Tropic of Cancer. If the sun moves to the south, it's the Tropic of Capricorn. It depends if it's moved to the north or south, it depends. The northern side is, if the sun moves to the south, it's called the Tropic of Capricorn. If the sun moves to the north, it's called the Tropic of Cancer. This is the Tropic of Capricorn or the Tropic of Cancer. Let's have a look at the Gleason's map and see if we can confirm this number. This is 37 and a half degrees, so it should correspond with the latitude 25 and a half degrees, because like we saw on our drawing, 37 and a half degrees is exactly 25 and a half degrees on the latitude. First, let's verify if the distances between the tropics and the equator are the same. Tiny difference there. The Tropic of Cancer is 15, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4 is 24 degrees. And the Tropic of Capricorn, it's 15, 20, 21, 2, 3, between 23 and 24 degrees. There's a little distortion there. Probably caused by the printing and copying process, but this map is pretty accurate. To my next question, what is the 23.4 degrees Earth tilt? Let's have a look at it and we'll get back to these numbers. The Gleason's map shows us that the sun moves between the 45 degrees latitude lines. And the Gleason deniers are telling us that the Earth tilts to the sun and back. Okay, again, the Earth tilts with 23.4 degrees closer to the sun, but in this case the sun is a million miles away. Let's calculate this distance and project it on the latitude line. I just want to show you, if you do a quick calculation, you can find this distance is the same as this one. So it crosses, this is the exact distance at the 25.5 degrees. So it's probably the 37.5 degrees is the correct angle, and it should end at the 25.5 degrees. Let's erase this because we have nothing to do with the globe.
If I measure the same angle on the Gleason's map, it measures 36.5 degrees. It should be 37.5 degrees because that's the angle when the sun is at the 45 degrees latitude. So it should be 37.5 degrees.
I looked again at the Gleason's map and realized the trajectory of the sun is like a circle. So then I asked myself, where is the center of this circle? Because if it's a circle, it's perfect. Everything works in a circle. Everything. Pi, golden mean, Fibonacci, everything. If it's in a circle, it is perfect. It works. So if the sun is part of the circle, there should be a center. This is a unique pyramid within a circle. And this is the center of the sun's path. And this is the trajectory of the sun.
If you measure it, you will realize the sun reaches its minimum altitude at 33 degrees on the y-axis. What a coincidence. It's a very familiar secret society number, but it makes sense. If you calculate the angle of the 33 degrees line, the orange one, you will get 36.5 degrees. And that one corresponds with 26 degrees on the latitude. Yes, it makes sense. The Gleason's map shows us a lot of similarities with the well-known signs and symbols. This is the pyramid, the 45 degrees latitudes with an angle of 45 degrees. This is the sun on top of the pyramid. It's a unique pyramid. It fits perfectly in a circle. The trajectory of the sun is like this. It reaches the 33 degrees on a y-axis between the 45 degrees latitude lines. This is 33 degrees, which also explains, well, not explains, but similarities with the Freemason number 33, the highest degree, the 33 degrees of the Freemasonry, with a lot of similarities with the eye on the same level, this spot. And the same trajectory of the sun. You can also draw an eye out of it. A lot of similarities. And if you draw a line to project it on the latitude, the solstice, it will be like this. 33
on both sides, which are also a lot of similarities with the ruler you see. And the only thing left is, of course, so a lot of similarities with the well-known signs and symbols. Yes, a lot of similarities. The 45 degrees on both sides. It's a 45-degree pyramid. The center, equator, sun on top. The base of the pyramid is flat and level. Of course, sea level, water is level. It all makes sense. A lot of similarities with the well-known signs and symbols. And of course, you can't miss the circle compass. You can't miss it. It all makes sense. And for some of us, it never will.